All right, we are live. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of the Vision Valley podcast. I'm so excited to be back for another week, another broadcast with another beautiful face and another beautiful survivor from really just bringing herself from pain to purpose. So, you guys get to see and meet my beautiful client and become a dear friend of mine over the time that we've known each other, Lisa Kovacs. And we're going to be having episode 2 of our podcast together, and we're going to be talking about how she has created that lifestyle from coming out of a painful situation, a traumatic situation, and really moving into her purpose in life. You guys know Vision of the Valley or Vision Valley podcast is all about healing trauma, discovering your purpose, and recreating or creating that desired life. And that's exactly what Lisa has done over her course. And I can't wait to share some of the details. So I'm just going to shut up and let Lisa go ahead and introduce herself before we get started.
Hey guys, I'm so excited to be here. My name is Lisa. I've met Crystal through Facebook, actually, through just a narcissistic group. And we just clicked from day one. I just knew. I was like, there's something about her. Like, I just got to work with her. And she was doing a little contest. And here we are, like a year and a half later. We've just became friends. Like, we talk like literally every day. So
Isn't it?
I'm more than a client. Like, I feel like a friend.
Yes, it's so amazing. Okay, let me introduce myself for the people before we get into it. You guys know, hello, for any new viewers, I am Crystal Timberlake and I'm a trauma-informed transformational coach. I help women turn their pain into purpose and drop the baggage of any residual effects that may be following them throughout life from their traumatic past or their toxic past. And it's really about doing exactly what Lisa has done in her life. She's going to get into the story. As she mentioned, it's been like a year and a half. Lisa and I connected in October of 2020. Sometimes I say that and I'm just taken aback, like, oh my gosh, it has been a journey, but it's been such a beautiful one. And I say this all the time, but one of the most amazing things about being a coach is that you don't just meet clients. You build friendships. You watch each other grow. You watch each other go through the motions, and you get to celebrate each other in that way. And because of that, great friendships are formed. And I'm excited to meet Lisa in person in like 1 month or so. And I'm excited about it, but that was a side note. So, Lisa, you mentioned that you met me through a challenge that I did. I think that was the one that I did back in October of 2020. And it's just been history ever since. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about how I've inspired you? We've worked together since October or November of 2020 was like our first official day together. What were some of the things that you've overcome? How did I inspire you over that time period?
I mean, it's been literally with everything. Everything from setting boundaries, from putting myself first, even though I'm a mom of 3. I have to love myself, right? I have to do self-love, not feel guilty about it. And then just the balance between home, work, kids, all of that, plus healing the trauma that I endured, and getting over the past relationship, getting over all um, the triggers, everything that happened in the past, and kind of leaving it there, but working through everything at the same time, not like burying it, but working through it and making sure, you know, it's not going to be a trigger in the future. You're just going to be healed.
Yes, I love that. So, Lisa, it's been 895 days since you've left that traumatic relationship and ultimately the whole cycle of trauma and abuse. You've left it on the table where it was, and you've picked up yourself and everything that belongs to you and created this new life. And it's so beautiful because not a lot of people count the days. After so many days, many of us just stop counting. But for you, you still count every single day. So that has been like so beautiful. Tell us what's different from like day one to like now. Like, what has changed for you, and how have you managed to do that in your life?
I think for me, the biggest thing, I'm a visual person. So you need to know what works best for you
Hmm.
and then do it, right? So stay committed and just take those baby steps. So
Hmm.
for me, a visual representation in my planner helped me, and I could kind of check it off and know, okay, day one is in the books, day two is in the books, day 57 is in the books, and then kind of reward myself just for staying out. Because at one point it was easier to go back than it was to stay gone. Um, just emotionally, mentally, it was just easier to go back. So for me, I still count it because it's amazing that I got out, number one, alive, and then stayed out, and didn't do the easy thing because I was always known to just go back. That was my comfort. That's what felt good at the time, even though we know it's not good and we know we shouldn't be there and we know what needs to happen and what should be done, we don't want to do it. Um, so for me, I still have to count the days, not because I want to go back, but just because I'm proud of myself. And 800 days ago, I couldn't sit here and talk about anything. I'd be a puddle on the floor just crying. Like, why was I crying? I don't know, but I was crying because the the journey that I thought I was building and this life that I thought I was building with this person wasn't. It was not. It was fake, essentially, and all the lies and everything. So I needed to just leave and get out. So for me, it's just easier to count the days.
Yes, you said so much. Oh my gosh, where do I even begin? First, you said, having the visual, right? Like being able to see that you've made it from one day to the next, like, is so powerful. And I like to talk a lot about surviving versus thriving, right? And for the beginning of your season of just transitioning out of it, day one, day two, day three, it was just a matter of surviving and not going back. You talked about that, and how we all know, including me, how many times we go back just because it's just easier. Like, we're
Yeah.
familiar with it, we already know what to expect, it's just easy to go back to that place. But having that visual of, like, okay, I made it through day one, day two. This is what I know I need to do. And then before you know it, you're going to sleep and you wake up and it's day three, all the way to day 895. Like, that is such a huge accomplishment. Another thing you talked about was sometimes, you can look at your life and see where you want to go, but it's easy to go back to what you used to and what you used to do. And I want you to tell us a little bit about how you what did you do to stay on track? So Lisa didn't mention this, but I'm going to mention this because I know Lisa has been in school. She has gotten raises on her job. She's recently transitioned into another job, and she's been doing it as single mom of three, busy with sports and kids and mom. Now you're taking care of mom. How do you manage to juggle all of these things and still focus and keep yourself a priority and your healing a priority?
I make lists. I don't know. Like I said, I'm a visual person. And I, you just know what has to be done, right? So I make the kids a priority throughout the week. And I know I schedule myself in. And I know every day for when I'm going to work now, I have about 2 hours before I have to be to work in between, and I can do whatever I want. So I can go get coffee, I can go tanning, I can go wander around a store, and I can do what I want because I have that freedom to do what I want. I can buy something if it looks cool because it's pretty. I don't have to get approval or anything from anyone. And I didn't think in that relationship that I would ever be able to make those choices. I'm that strong, independent woman where I was before, right? And then you get with this person, and for 5 years you're beaten down, and you're told like you're never going to be anything without me, and you're not going to be able to survive, and you don't know how to make choices, and you're never going to be able to raise these kids without me, and you can't make financial decisions and all of these things. Like, I mean, I bought a house, I published a planner, like I'm going to school full time. Like, you just have to do it. There's no excuse. Um, Period. There's no excuse.
Yes, I love that. So, Lisa, at any point in your journey, I know you talk about the have to, right? And as women, when we're put in a situation where we have to do something, we get it done. That's just who we are, right? But at some point, did it transition from a have to this is what I want to do and I'm actually excited about doing it? When did that pivot happen for you and what was that like?
Um, I think it was about a year out. I got a tattoo and it says, just breathe. And that's been my whole motto. Just breathe and you're going to breathe through it and it's okay. So, yeah, I think it was about a year out. I changed my major and I'm doing what I want to do, not what I was told I had to do and what he wanted me to go to school for. And to be honest, it never even occurred to me like that I wasn't doing what I wanted to do, that but I was doing what he wanted me to do still. Um, but I think once I got that tattoo and like really started like reflecting, I was like, wow, I could do anything. I want to do this. I want to go here. I want to do this. Um, that's when everything completely changed with me and the kids. So, or the kids and I. So we would go on trips. We would do day trips. We would do, like I said, I changed my major. We're going to Disney World on Saturday. Like, I want to make these memories with them. So,
That's so exciting. I was just gonna say, I remember there was a shift when we were working together where you were just like, you know what the heck? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take the kids and I'm gonna go, or I'm gonna go and have me some me time. I'm gonna do these things. And I remember the excitement that came across your face, even in your voice, because we Voxer a lot and just watching you just blossom. You went from like a caterpillar because you were in this caterpillar phase when you're kind of transitioning out to a full blown butterfly with wings that you truly allowed yourself to fly, to soar, to explore, to figure out who you are. And if someone asks you, who are you? What would you say?
who am I? Um, I think I would say I am a strong, independent, resilient, beautiful woman.
I love it. That's exactly who you are. And a lot of people when I ask them who they are, they tell me like all the things that they do and all the things they've accomplished and I'm like, "Okay, that's great. That's what you did, but who are you?" And look at you. You simply and plainly said who you are, not what you do or how you do it, but who you are. And that tells me that you've come back to you. You've gotten to this place where you recognize that I'm not all the hats that I wear, but I am just who I am. And what I add to the space, any space that I enter, is valuable. And that's who you are. I love that so much. So, Lisa, you mentioned that you published a planner, a custody planner. Tell us what was the vision behind that? What, made you be so passionate about it? And tell us a little bit about what it is.
Um, so when I left my ex, I we have a daughter together, and I it was financial abuse just as much as it was emotional and physical and all of those others, right? So I had no money for a lawyer. He, on the other hand, hired a lawyer. He wants nothing to do with our daughter, but out of spite, he hired a lawyer, and I got scared. And I was looking, like I said, I'm a visual person and I want everything written down. So any text, any phone call, anything, I wanted it all in one place. And I couldn't find anything that really suits the needs um, for court, right? So you can take something into court. There was a lot of apps that you could track, but you can't take your phone into court in the state of Virginia. So I created what worked for me. And then I was like, you know what? I bet other people could really use this. So I designed it. Um, and then I just nonchalantly like mentioned it to Crystal, and she's like, wait, what? You're doing what? And I was like, oh yeah, it's just this little thing. And she was like, that's not little. You should probably publish that. So publishing and design and all of that, like I did it all by myself. I didn't have the money really for anything. And it all started because um, I left my ex and needed something to keep everything organized for our daughter, and couldn't find anything on the market. So I published it and
Oh,
copyrighted everything.
you copywrote it and everything. Like you not only published a book, but you went through the whole process of making sure that your creation was protected. And you guys know I talk a lot about how our devastation usually is our transportation to the destination. So in so many words, when we talk about making or taking our pain and turning it into purpose, that's exactly what Lisa did. She had a problem. She had a pain point. She had a circumstance, a situation that was real life for her nonetheless, but she created something out of that. And a lot of times we can't always see how God is working divinely in our lives, but we're just in the middle. We're just doing it, right? We're just busy little bees trying to survive from day to day. And as a result of it, we create a whole destiny for ourselves. We create something that can outlive us in the process, which is why that devastation becomes the transportation for your destination. And so when Lisa said that she was doing this, I'm like, girl, this is huge. Like, oh my gosh, this is so, so huge. So I'm just so incredibly proud of you, Lisa. I'm proud of everything that you've done. I'm proud of the journey that you've taken. I'm proud that you have actually said, you know what? I'm at a place where I am no longer going to wait for somebody to give me permission to do a thing, but I'm going to give myself permission to do a thing. So, in that, what what is one piece of advice would you give to someone who may be at day 1 or maybe day 365 or maybe they're at day 895? Either way, what is one piece of sound advice would you give someone just based on your experience and what you know now by going through the journey?
There's so much. One Piece. I think you need to talk to somebody. Don't do it alone. There's so many people out there. And I know once I got to a point where I could talk about it. Um, I tell my story to anybody that wants to hear it. And I'm not doing it because I want someone to have a pity party or, anything like that. I'm doing it simply because people know me, number one, in my career or whatever. I'm going to share my story wherever. I'm not embarrassed at all because it could happen to anyone. It can happen to your mom, your grandma. It could be anyone. It's a very passionate subject to me. So, number one, don't judge and don't feel like people are judging you. Um, and just ask for help. It's okay. Even if you're just talking, it's going to help you in the end. So therapy, of course, or a coach, um, but just talking to a friend that you can trust, I think really, really will help you. Because in those times where you feel like you need to go back, you need to reach out to somebody else. You don't need to go back because it's going to get easier and it's going to get better.
Yes, I love that so, so much. You know, I always say our most powerful weapon is our voice. So your ability to be able to speak up and tell your story gives you the freedom and the permission to create your own story. Oftentimes, as people who have gone through domestic violence, the first thing that we lose is our ability to speak up. We're hiding what's happening at home. We're hiding the fact that we're sad. We're hiding the fact that, we don't want people to know what's going on because we're not even sure what we want to do about what's going on. And all of this slowly but surely just silences our voice. Before we know it, we become mute in so many different ways. And the most powerful thing that anybody can do is use their voice, tell their story. I am a firm believer that there are so many people suffering in silence, and you never know who you may be helping by just simply speaking your truth and saying, you know what, I've been there too. And sometimes the truth is ugly, but that's okay too, because this is real life, right? We've all gone through some phases of our lives that wasn't so pretty. But the point is, are we making sure that we help someone else by sharing our story? Are we making sure that we are fulfilling the responsibility that we have to ourselves by using our voice? And Lisa, that's exactly what you've done. And doing that has been so empowering. I can see just from you talking today, from like when we met way back in 2020, how much you have transformed and how you're able to tell your story matter of factly instead of telling your story in a way that, maybe you're still kind of living it and it's still fresh. And I'm saying that to say to the person who may be watching this that you may be not able to tell your story without crying. But a year from now, 2 years from now, you'll be able to stand flat footed in your story and tell it with so much boldness and so much confidence because you survived it. You overcame it. And that journey has brought you to this place of more power. You're no longer feeling powerless, but you're feeling more powerful. So I just love that advice that Lisa gave, which simply means use your voice, tell your story.
I agree with you because the first time you said like, well, you gotta tell your story, and I was like looking at you like, what are people gonna think? Who cares what people think? Really, who cares what people think? Because if they're there to judge you, they're not meant to be in your life anyways. Um, and the more you tell it, the more of I felt like the more emotion was removed out of it, and it was more of just a matter of fact. Like these are the facts. This is what happened. Um, and then when I did get to court time, it was actually easier for me to talk. So I got all of the emotion out of it with friends and Crystal and my mom and all those people. So I was more stoic in the courtroom, and it was just a matter of fact. Here are the facts.
Yes, yes. I love that. So, Lisa, where can we find a copy of your custody planner? You guys, this thing is legit. There is not a woman who I come across who says, I don't know how I'm going to get through this because court and lawyers and I can't afford. Well, I wanted to make sure that the world knew that you don't need any of that. You can do this on your own. And Lisa has created a tool for women just like you and her who need to be able to track things and go into the courtroom with full confidence that you not only have things organized, but you can do this. So, Lisa, where can they find a copy of your planner?
So it's actually on Amazon, and you can get it just through Amazon. But I think Crystal's going to tag me, and then if you reach out to me through Messenger, I can send you one. We can set something up, and then you get some extra stuff if you order through me, and not just through Amazon.
Yes. So, what is the name of it? Tell us the name of it so that we know exactly where to search for in Amazon.
So it's the everything in one place. Custody and support planner. So I'll actually tag it. When you tag me, I'll tag it in the comments.
Yes. Do you have one nearby?
I don't. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Uh, Lisa, do you have any final words that you want to share with anybody who may be watching?
You guys, if you're thinking about it, do it. Crystal is great. And I'm not saying that because I'm her client. I'm saying that because she's a genuine soul. Like we connected from day one. So she is genuinely as nice as she seems right here. Like she's as nice as that. Like when you're one on one, like she truly cares. Um, but she's great. And if you guys are trying to get out of a relationship or a situation or whatever the situation is, you can do it because you're strong. You can do it.
Oh, Lisa, thank you so much for your kind words. I'm like, listen, I didn't come here to cry now. That is not what we signed up to do today. But I appreciate you so much, girl. And, if, like she said, anybody who is in a situation where you're just like, I know I need to do this for me, you can do this. You can do this one step at a time. And as Lisa mentioned in the beginning of our broadcast together, it's the baby steps, right? Baby steps. They all add up. No matter how small they are, they all add up. None of them are in vain, and they are all taking you somewhere. I love to use this analogy because sometimes we forget that we were all babies at one point, and there was a time where we would stand on our feet and only take one or two steps, and we would fall back down, and then we would get back up, take one or two steps, and we would fall back down. But before we knew it, we were making it from the couch to the chair, and from the chair to the kitchen wall. And it was all those baby steps that taught us how to walk and eventually taught us how to run. So I want you to look at your situation the same way. Even if you tumble, even if you fall, even if you fall off course, everything you've done is adding up to where you're going to be. And like I say all the time, this is your place. This is your safe place. This is the table that I have created for women just like Lisa, just like you, just like me, to show up and show that our trauma, it didn't define who we are, but it helped to create the powerful version of ourselves that we never even knew existed. So I wish you guys all the best of luck. Make sure you get Lisa's planner if you're somebody who's in the middle of custody and all of the things with your ex, or it could be an ex abuser or just the ex in general. It's helpful to have all of those things outlined, so she'll go ahead and tag that, or you can reach out to her directly, because this is not something that you want to miss out on. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, make sure you drop us a little note down below. Connect with Lisa if you need somebody to connect with, or connect with me if you need somebody to connect with. But until our next podcast, you guys, I love you, and I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.